Howdy folks, Doc here with Last Best Tool. Well, I don't need to tell you that there are some things going on around the country, the world, where you might have to be a little bit more self-reliant than usual. Whether it's things on fire or things freezing or things blowing away, there's no shortage of challenges just to daily life. And there's also a big factor that I guess I would call displacement. The chance that you're going to have to go mobile either for your safety or perhaps you don't have anywhere else to go because your primary location, well, is on fire or is flooded. But anyway, these kinds of power stations, there's millions of videos, lots of these available, but I'm going to address it in two different ways. One is the concept of a power station ecosystem, and the other has to do with mobility. There is a tendency, because once you get into a power station like this, you're already at hundreds of dollars, so it's very easy to kind of nickel and dime your way up to a much larger one. And the problem with that, of course, is mobility and possibly charging. Now this is the VTOMAN FlashSpeed 600, so it's got a few advantages over much larger units and, in fact, other units. Now, one of the things is in the name, FlashSpeed. The idea is that if you plug this in, if it's dead, you plug it in, within 1 hour, you can have this up to 80% charged. And why that's important is a lot of times people have these and maybe they use it mobile-wise or charging things or running stuff, and then they need to charge it again, and they might be looking at 24 hours to charge the thing back up. And a lot of times you're going, if you are mobile, if let's say you're evacuated, you are going to have to find a spot, and it's kind of like a charging station for an electric car. You can't stay there all night while your device is charging. So that's why we're going to speed charging of phones. Here's speed charging of a 499 watt-hour lithium iron phosphate power station. Now this thing is got a running speed of about 600 watts, but you can get a peak power of about 1200 watts. And you've got several different input options. So you can do a DC input up to 200 watts, solar input up to 200 watts, and of course up to 400 watts AC input. It's also, let's talk mobility, it's about 15 pounds. And that means you can easily carry it, easily move it around. It is not huge. It's like a little bit bigger than maybe a 6-pack of 16-ounce drinks. It does have like in my previous, I call it VTOMAN. I noticed Project Farm did a video on a bunch of these, and by the way, this ranked extremely high. I think it came in second. But depending on the things that you choose, I'll show you a couple of what it can do. But it does have this storage area on the top for small stuff. That's ideal. If you flip it around, you can turn on a light back here, and that light has a low, medium, and high setting, a strobe, and then an SOS. So you've got a big area light right there. Probably lasts forever at this. The ability now, let's do the second part. And let's talk ecosystem. This has a couple of options. One is a solar panel array. There's several choices there, but also a much larger battery. So you can actually make it plug in your VTOMAN, or a VTOMAN is how Project Farm pronounced it. I guess if you leave that, it'd be VTOMAN or TUMAN. I always say the V, TUMAN, I don't know. But anyway, there is a 1500 watt or watt-hour extra battery that you can plug into this. That's basically just a gigantic battery. So I have that with my larger VTOMAN. I also have that now capable here. So that's where the ecosystem comes in. Another aspect has to do with the solar panels. The solar panels are, there are lots of solar panels. There's millions of different options for solar panels. You can get almost any kind of wattage that you want, and there are monocrystalline, there's polycrystalline, there are charge controllers, there's just an unlimited supply. I've done some videos playing around with connectors and charge controllers, getting my solar panels set up for overlanding. But stuff like this, what if you could just plug your solar panel directly in? Boom, right there, solar input, and you're done. You don't have to worry about the wrong voltage. You don't have to worry about incompatibility. And here's the solar panel. You can see how this just fits in beautifully into this system. It's not unusual to make mistakes with solar panels in both input and output voltages, with connectors. So the idea with the ecosystem is, unless you want to immerse yourself into a a tinkering environment with power stations and solar panels and wires, etc., it's easier to just buy the stuff that is designed to go together and then set up your ecosystem, your power station ecosystem. Another aspect to this thing, just cranked it on. I have obviously 4 different USB chargers here. Got the ability to do a DC out right here, 2 different choices there, and 2 ACs. Now, I can plug in an additional battery here if I have that 1500, which isn't a cheap battery. Something to think about. But if you really want bulk battery or bulk electrical storage, that's an option, and it's seamless here. Also, when you're using something like this, you can run it as a pass-through, which means I can plug this into the wall, and then I can plug my device, say a computer or whatever it is, in here, and now this is like an uninterrupted power supply. So when things are a little crazy, we have brownouts, there's a storm rolling in, generally when things get kind of crazy, I expect the power to go out. That's just what happens. So I actually could plug my computer in, and then when the power goes out at this point, it does not go out at this point. Now let's take a look at operating this thing. I'm just going to turn on the AC here and plug something in. In this case, I have got this DeWalt drill. This seemed to be what Project Farm was using as one of its indicators. So I'll just plug this in. It'll give me some information here. And that information I've got the battery percentage. I will have the time of how long something will last, actually, when I'm running it. And then what its output is. So you can see right here, if you can, I'm at 120, 116 watts. That little jerk there, they took it up to 400. Turn out a light here, see if it's easier to read. And if you notice down here, it tells me the number of hours of operation. So I was getting down into maybe 3 hours of operation, something like that, of running the drill. I think my drill would probably overheat and die by that time. But anyway, so mobility, can I carry it around? Can I easily move it? Some of the big ones, they are very big. In fact, they've gotten so big they're putting wheels and handles on them. That might be what you want, but it also might prevent you from easily carrying it with one hand where you need to be. And also the charging of it, to hook it up to something and then have it power up in any kind of a reasonable amount of time. Now the solar panels, I've got this set up to a 110 watt solar panel. You can go up to 200 watts, and VTOMAN makes at least two different solar panel options, so you can just have a plug-and-play system. Yes, they are expensive. I mean, not compared to others. They are just an expensive, very good tool, and that's why you also may want to look at this as something that you just use for daily life, such as your uninterrupted power supply or just outdoor use, whether you're camping, overlanding, powering tools out in a more remote area. That's another thing I use these for. Obviously battery tools are exceptional, but I've got some tools that it's just a lot easier, like the power drill. There are times when this just is what's needed, especially a lot of metal drilling, things like that. And that's where these things really come into play. But then also having something that I can easily pick up and carry with one hand. Just an ideal system. So another aspect I want to point out on this guy, which is pretty cool, is its operating temperature, -4 degrees Fahrenheit to 131 degrees Fahrenheit. That's pretty serious. And around here, we're getting down around 0. I mean, I think we're pretty tough. I don't know if we're as tough as Alaskans, but literally in Montana, it has to be below 0 before you don't let the preschoolers out running around. Seriously, we just get used to it. It has to be about 20 below before you shut down the ski lifts, and that's just because you can't evacuate people fast enough before they freeze. But anyway, humidity from 10 to 90%, and the charging temperature, you want for charging usually above freezing if you can, but again, you can still go up to that 131 degrees Fahrenheit, which is just wild. So anyway, you got a lot of choices with this. You got mobility, you got the ecosystem, you've got the uninterrupted power supply, you've got plenty of energy in this very fast charging station. So if you're looking for one of these, it isn't just operational output. It isn't just total number of, or the total capacity of the thing. It's other stuff as well, like the solar panel compatibility, like the speed of charging, like the operating temperature. And that's why I am a big fan of VTOMAN or VTOMAN as a company. I'm thrilled with it. So look at them if you are serious about getting a solid unit because of the instability in our world today. And with that, Doc out.